Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Radical Faith Beyond Belief, where I continue to share the amazing things that God did while we were serving as missionaries in Puerto Rico. My name is JC, and I am your host. Today, I am going to be sharing with you guys a little bit about the religious background that we discovered when we landed in Puerto Rico. Something I have kind of coined as Pentecostal Catholicism. Yes, you heard that right. Pentecostal Catholicism. So let me share a little bit about what I mean by that. So we arrived in Puerto Rico, got off the plane, got to our aunt and uncle's house, and quickly discovered that my wife's family had actually converted from Catholicism to Christianity. And so that was a big shock to us because in Puerto Rico, Catholicism is the main religion. And so to see somebody, completely convert from Catholicism to Christianity um, wasn't a normal thing. And so we really started asking a lot of questions, doing some research on why that would be. And what we soon discovered is that in the 1970s, I don't remember the exact date, but in the 1970s, there was a Pentecostal missionary that came to the island of Puerto Rico. And as a Pentecostal missionary, I believe it was a woman. Don't quote me on this. But this woman had seen significant changes in the religion and had saw some significant fruit from the missionary efforts there. And so as a result, there was actually a large number of conversions from the Catholic faith to the Christian faith during the 1970s. However, what ended up happening is there wasn't any discipleship taking place. So there was a lot of evangelism and a lot of church planting going on, but there was very little, if any, discipleship. And ultimately, what that led to was a large number of Catholics experiencing the power of the Holy Spirit through the Pentecostal church and experiencing that conversion, but never really leaving behind any of their Catholic traditions or their Catholic religious aspects or even some of their thoughts. And so what ended up happening is you have the Catholic Church here, which has been established in Puerto Rico for a very long time. And then you have the Pentecostal Church that saw great success. Now you kind of have those two blending together without any help kind of making sure that the Catholics understand the Christian faith, and you have what now I have called the Pentecostal Catholicism. So you have a lot of reliance on the Holy Spirit and everything that you think about when you hear the Pentecostal church. You have a lot of that taking place within the church, but yet there is still a significant focus on the Catholic religion when it comes to practices, when it comes to works, things like that. So you have a very confused church. There's not a lot of outreach in terms of evangelism or discipleship. Any outreach that's taking place is really more about growing their church or church planting because that was the focus of the missionary in the 70s. And so as a result, you have an extremely unhealthy church in Puerto Rico. And that really started opening our eyes up to some possible needs in Puerto Rico. Now, up to this point, we had not even considered moving to Puerto Rico. We had not even considered being missionaries. We were just recognizing the needs, I think, just based out of our own experience, our calling into ministry. We were kind of focused on that stuff. So we just kind of started recognizing some of these needs. And so one of the days that we were down there on vacation, so this is in March of 2014, I distinctively remember the day that my wife's family took us to Old San Juan. Now, Old San Juan is absolutely beautiful. If you guys have never been there, guys, I encourage you to go there, make a trip. It's well worth it. Very old buildings, still the original blue cobblestone streets, the old forts. It's absolutely amazing. And it's right on the ocean, right? And it's a walled city. It's a fortified city, which kind of makes it really cool and adds to the historical feel of it. So it's just a really cool old town. So as we were driving down the main road that's right along the ocean, we passed San Cristobal, which is one of the forts, and we drive past this community that is set outside the walls, ocean front, outside the walls, but really a lot of rundown houses. And we drive by there, and my wife's uncle says, "Whatever you do, never go down there. Because if you do, you might not come back out." And he proceeded to explain to us that this community is La Perla. And La Perla is pretty much run by the drug cartel. There's a lot of drugs and crime that take place down there. There's been a lot of tourists that have been murdered down there. It is known to be one of, if not the most dangerous places on the island. So as he was explaining to this, the very first thought that came to my mind is that if the church is not going down there, how are these people hearing about Jesus? And I prayed in that moment. I said, "Lord, how do I get down there?" And I didn't even know what I was doing in the moment. I mean, again, I wasn't thinking of serving. My heart just felt for this group and this community of people who were literally neglected by the church because it was dangerous. And I wanted to get down there. I wanted to be able to go down there and minister and share the gospel with these people. And so that really started a conversation between me and my wife. And we really started to realize that not only is there a significant disconnect in the church from true biblical functioning caused by this Pentecostal Catholicism that we were witnessing, they're also unwilling to go to the places that need Jesus the most. And so this really started a conversation between me and my wife. Again, at this point, moving to Puerto Rico was not even on my mind. Doing mission work there wasn't even on my mind. My heart just felt for them, like, man, like, how do we get down there? How's the church get down there? And so our trip continued, and we enjoyed ourselves, in Old San Juan, and everything else that we did. I think we went to the rainforest, and I don't remember honestly all of the details. But I do remember that the trip was going great. We had tons of conversations, met a lot of people from the church. And I remember it was day 8 of our trip. So this was supposed to be a 10-day trip. Day 8 of our trip, I remember distinctly. We were at my wife's uncle's house, another uncle, not the uncle that we were staying with, but another aunt and uncle's house. And we were actually in his vehicle. And so that was a brown Mitsubishi Montero. So I don't remember why we didn't get out, honestly, because we were in his vehicle. We must have had to stop there to pick something up. I honestly don't remember. But what I do remember is that he got out of the vehicle, and it was just me and my wife in the back seat. And my wife looks at me, and she proceeds to tell me something. Well, I guess really proceeds to ask me a question that I was not expecting. She looks at me and she says, "Why are we still living in Michigan? God needs us to move to Puerto Rico." And without a hitch, I said, "Okay, when?" That was so unexpected. So unexpected, because I'm the crazy one, right? I'm the one who just up and quits his job because the Lord told me to go volunteer at a ministry. I'm the one who walked to Washington, D.C. because the Lord asked me to go pray for the president, right? I'm the one who does the crazy stuff for Jesus. When my wife said that, the reason I think I responded so quickly was because I knew it was God, because my wife is a person who needs to process, who needs to think, and who needs to confirm before she speaks. So I knew in that moment that if she was saying that, she had already been thinking it, she had already been praying about it, she had already been talking to God about it, she'd already received a confirmation from God about it, and now she was ready to speak it out. And that moment radically changed our lives. So now we're headed back to her other aunt and uncle's house. Now, we're getting ready to leave here in a day or so. And I honestly, everything else was a whirlwind. And all I could think about now was moving to Puerto Rico. How great it would be. Why would it be? I don't understand it. Like, all of these floods of emotions came over, right? And so my wife had now shared that. So that was amazing. But we still had 3 young kids, right? They were all in school. They had friends here. And we weren't really quite sure about that whole situation. So we got on the airplane leaving, right? We're headed back to Michigan. And we get on the plane and we go to take off. And we're looking out the window and you can see the coastline of Puerto Rico still. And our youngest son, who was in the 2nd grade at the time, looked at us and said these words: "I'm not homesick. I'm Puerto Rico sick. Do we really have to go home?" And in that moment, my wife and I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was God calling us to move to Puerto Rico to serve him as missionaries. And our lives were never the same.